Hey guys, my name is Omkar Jagdare coming at you from Detroit, Michigan. And today I'm going to talk to you about why H1B life can be really stressful while you are living in US. But before we get started, I would really appreciate if you can give me a thumbs up to the video. It allows me to reach out to more people just like you. Before I say anything, I want to let you know that this is not me complaining about H1B or me venting about it. It's just sharing my mindset and sharing the reality of what you should expect if you choose to immigrate to US on F1 visa, eventually on your H1B, while figuring out your process for green card. Okay, so now that we have established that, let's talk about it. So if you really imagine you are graduated today and now your journey starts towards your future. Let's say you're 24, 25, whatever age you are like, okay, how do I plan for next 5 to 10 years in America? Because most people's goal is like to get that green card within like 10, 12 years. If you're Indian, anyone else, you might want to get your green card within 3 to 4 years. Now, these are like time frames which are, I would say, very ambitious. And I came to US in 2011. It's 2023 right now. I still don't have my green card. So I went through 4 years of undergrad, 3 years of work after that, didn't get my H1B, and then I had to go back to masters, did 2 years of masters, got my H1B while doing my masters, and then got started on the journey of green card with my company. And then comes I-140, and then comes after 10 years comes green card. So it's a long journey, guys, and during this you're going to have a lot of ups and downs, and you need to be prepared for it. The thing is about immigration, you have to understand, is you can't blame anyone else, because you are the one who signed up for it. I'm the one who signed up for this life. I am the one who said I'm willing to make sacrifices. I'm willing to not see my family for 3 years at a time because of immigration issues. I'm willing to take abuse at times from employers because they lie to you at times. Employers will say they'll do your H1B and they'll lay you off about 3 weeks before they should be filing your H1B. That happened to me. Today I was talking to someone, their employer lied to them. Their employer said they will file their H1B in their first year. They did not do that. In their second year, they tried to do it or something like that. They filed it. He didn't get picked up. Now they are on their third shot. This is their last year. So what is happening is people, I feel, they come to America and then they start figuring this thing out. And I don't want that to happen for you. I want you to know what lies after that, what you can do to prepare yourself for these things that can happen. Okay, so let's talk about what issues or potential issues you will go through after graduating. So number one thing you're gonna go through is finding a job. You have 90 days to find this job, the pie in the sky, and you have to figure out a way to find it. If you're a smart individual, you've already done an internship during masters or your undergrad and you have a job lined up because of your internship you have a good resume and companies are willing to hire you. They are looking at you, you're getting interviews, and you're gonna get hired. Imagine, let's say you get a job. Now you have to convince your company to apply for your H1B. If you are in if you're in IT, computer science, mechanical engineering, automotive engineering, these things have already been established for you. Civil engineers, on the other hand, if you are from states which do not have a lot of population, which does not have a lot of international students, it's going to be difficult for you. I remember in my interview, I had to explain those people what an H1B was. After getting hired for a year, I had to sit down with my HR, explain them how the H1B works. We have to hire a lawyer, we have to go through this process, and we'll figure it out. Eventually, my HR just gave up on it. They were like, yeah, sorry, we don't do this kind of thing. I had to quit that job, go to another company. They said they'll do my H1B. We started figuring out process and I was like, man, these people are not going to do anything. They said, you hire a lawyer and let's start the process. So I had to pay for everything. I had to pay $3,000-4,000 to get this thing done. And they had certain fees which I cannot pay as an employee. only employer has to pay. It was $1,500, $2,000 at that point. They were like, we don't want to pay. They didn't say that to my face, but they didn't want to pay. Anytime the money would come up, they would take their hands off it. So this is the things that will happen to you if you are in certain kind of majors. I'm not saying civil people, everybody will have to go through it, but that's what used to happen about 3, 4, 5 years back. Things have changed now. Things have gotten better. There are bigger companies like AECOM, WSP, HNTV. These are phenomenal companies to work for if you are a civil engineer. Eventually, I was able to get into a bigger company and they were able to file things for me, and that kind of changed my life in US because I found someone who was willing to do those things for me. So that's what you have to understand. So let's say you start this process for 3 years, you don't get H1B on your first try, you start panicking. Second try, you are like hopeful. If you don't get on your second try, your third try is going to be very, very stressful. I remember 2019 was my third try at H1B and I was losing patience. I was like, what am I going to do if I don't get my H1B? I had nothing planned. I didn't had money saved up, guys. I was an undergrad who had graduated. I had saved up some money, but I lost a job in 2018 for about 3-4 months, and all my savings, I had $7,000-8,000 savings, they blew in those 3 months. So now you start back from zero. 2018 I start back zero. Things happen, you have family, you have all of these things, and you're providing for it. Now if you're in tech income earner, hey, life is different for you. But most core engineers making $60,000-70,000, life is not like that for them. They're not really saving a lot of money. They may be saving $1,000-1,500 a month, but eventually what happens, if you're traveling to India, if you have parents you're supporting, that money doesn't go long way. So coming back to the point, I didn't have enough money saved up at that point of time, maybe $3,000-4,000 to be honest. When I found out that I didn't get my H1B for the third time, I was done, and I didn't had any idea how to figure out how to live in US, guys. The only way after that was me going back for masters. At that point of time, my dad had told me that, hey, I cannot support you for masters anymore, because he had helped me with my undergrad. So I had to figure out. So basically, what that meant is I knew that with masters you couldn't go back to school and work continuously. So I didn't had money to go even figure out first year of masters, because you get usually permission to work after 1 year. So I didn't knew how I'm going to make money for that year, or how I'm going to pay off my living expenses and make money for college, which was like, let's say a college for a year would cost you about $15,000-20,000 for a master's, and your living expenses, if you cut down everything else, it's still going to be $1,000-1,500. So how do you take care of that? If you have lived your life for 2-3 years on a job, it's hard for you to go back to $300-400 a month of student lifestyle. So you have to maintain those lifestyles. So I didn't have $15,000-30,000 saved up for a year. So I was running out of ideas. I remember at that point of time, I started looking into Canada. I started looking into other options. Nothing was going to work. I didn't know how to take a loan in US. There were so many, at that point of time, there was no one who knew how to take a loan in US. You couldn't take a loan for your education. On F1 visa, they don't even give you loans. I remember going to a credit union once and I told them I need a loan to buy a car. They said, you have F1 visa. We only give it to H1 visa people. So I didn't even get a loan for a car. So I had no idea at that point of time what I'm going to do. So, but here's the thing, I was creative. I knew I'm going to figure out a way, because I remember my mentor told me, go to Canada. Canada is an easier option. Apply for Canada immigration and see what happens. The thing is, I came back home. I thought about it for days and days. Here's what I told myself. I did not come to America to go to Canada, because that was not my goal. I came to America. When I was applying for US education and stuff like that, I had also applied to British, England and stuff like that. My dad really wanted me to go to England. I didn't care for England. I knew the opportunities in America. I knew the lifestyle is in America, and that's the reason I came here. I did not know immigration is difficult as much. I wish I had known. But long story short, I started buying people lunches. I started going out there and figuring out how I'm going to stay in US. I remember buying 30-40 people lunches and dinners, guys. I just wanted to learn how they have figured out after their life in US after not getting H1B. 3 times. So I met bunch of people. I found out they're going to different universities and they have applied for their masters there. They're studying, they've got their CPT, and they're continuing to work in their first and second year of their masters. The problem was, it was a little bit different for me. This was my first masters. It was not going to be my second masters. So I eventually ended up going to Harrisburg University for my day 1 CPT. That's where if you notice, unlike master students, I couldn't take continuous 2 years of CPT, because if I did that, I would have even lost my OPT, because for masters you get another 3 years of OPT if you have done your bachelor's here. So I couldn't even do that. So getting my H1B on my 4th try was going to be very critical for me, because the next year I wouldn't be able to work. I would be only able to work maybe part-time CPT. I did not know that at that point of time. I only know that I can take less than 364 days of CPT, and then the year after, if I don't get my H1B, I'll have to take a break, graduate, and then go back to work. So fortunately, I found a great company. My boss is phenomenal. He told me, whatever you need, I'll take care of it. Not in terms of paying for my education, but in terms of documentation, helping you getting ahead. And eventually my company also helped me with some of my tuition fees. One of the tuition fees in the year was paid by my workplace. So I'm very grateful to them for doing that. Here's the thing, guys. These problems will come to you because of immigration issues. H1B is not an easy place to be at. So getting from F1 to H1B is such a deal for me, and it's going to be a big deal for you. Not everyone is going to be fortunate to get H1B on their first or second try. I remember I have friends who got their H1B on first and second try, and today they're still struggling. They're in their 4th year of H1B, and their company hasn't applied for their green card yet, and they are nowhere in the process for I-140, which is the reality of America. I have gotten my H1B in 2020, and I'm already ahead. I'm already close to figuring out all of this process and putting it behind me. And that's the reality of America. You may think, your destination may be Florida, and somebody, imagine I live in Detroit and my destination is Miami, and somebody might be sitting in, there are 4 or 5 people who are trying to get there, and you're just, imagine, stuck in Detroit, and your friend is in a car and he's already started driving towards it. He's somewhere in Ohio or Philadelphia or somewhere halfway through. Some of your friends are taking a train, they are already in Atlanta or something like that. But the difference is, you don't know, you might have a plane waiting for you, which is like 3-4 hours. You're just sitting on the tarmac, you're just waiting for the plane to take off. But then at the end of the day, you might land to your destination before other people. So you don't know what cards you are going to be handed in this game. So the best way to handle your immigration issues in America is to look at this as a game. Look at this as a game of cards, and you are being given cards. And you have to play your cards. You cannot complain, why did I get these cards? You can't expect, there is no law of attraction here where you're like, oh, I hope I get better cards. No, you're going to get the cards which are destined to you. But you have the choice to play the game. You have to play the game with the cards you have been given. Whenever something comes, you put that card. Whatever is the best thing you can do at that point of time, that's how you play this game. And that's what you can already do, folks. You can't do much more than that. You do whenever the situation arises, you plan for it, you prepare for it. Sometimes you think a little bit ahead, you think 2-3 steps ahead and plan for it. So among this, I'm going to talk about few challenges which were really difficult for me. When I got my H1B, the COVID happened, and I couldn't go back to India for 2 years. I got stuck here, and then when I went, I got my H1B and stuff like that. Life became a little bit easier after that. Now I'm able to travel every year. I'm really grateful for that. But I couldn't travel to India. I came to US in 2011. I went to India in 2014, 2015. After that, I was stuck in America for 7 years, guys. I couldn't go back to India from 2015 to 2022 April. So it was the longest time. By the time I had gone back to India, my city, everything had changed. My sister, who is when I left India, was 10 years old, or 6 years old. She had become 16 by that time. I'd only seen her 2 or 3 times by that time. I had only seen my parents 2-3 times in that time. So it's difficult. It's a price you have to pay to get ahead in life. And it's a price you have to pay for ambition. So you may ask yourself, or you may ask me, why are you doing all of this? Why go through such a torture? Why go put your parents, your family through all this? It's ambition, guys. It's the goals you have. You signed up for this when you left your country. And that's the reason we do this. So I understand where you're coming from. I understand what you're going through. At the end of the day, the way you play this game is you have a clarity of thinking. Clarity of thinking will allow you to figure out this game. Another thing you have to understand, you're not alone in this journey. There are hundreds and hundreds of Indians, immigrants, all from different countries as well, playing this game. So it's okay. Don't feel that these problems are unique to you. You may get a hand which is difficult, maybe bad than other people, but everyone else is playing the game. So be grateful for what you have. It's fine. You will figure it out. Just keep playing the game. You will figure out. I remember talking to a person about 2 years back, a year and a half back, and he had gotten his green card exactly 10 years from the time it was applied. Like, it was exact 10-year date from the day he had applied. And he told me that, so he had been in US for 15 years. So he said, he did his master's in Texas, and he had been working about 3 years, and that's when his H1B his green card was applied, and it took him 10 years too. And the message he told me was, just stay consistent. Just stay consistent with this thing. And that's what you have to do, guys. You have to figure out your job situation. You can't jump companies sometimes. You have to work at bad companies sometimes. You have to work at good companies sometimes. You have to wait for your immigration. And all of these things happen. And all of us are going through this. So don't worry about it. There are other people who are just going through it. Just talk to them. Just reach out to people when you are going through situations. Talk to them. Ask them questions about how they figured out and what they went through to figure it out. Okay? And here is what I want to tell you. This is the last story I'll tell you, and I'll let you go. So you see, the game of, have you ever played the game of Snakes and Ladder? And it's a very, very interesting game. If you notice in the game, there are snakes which eat you and they bring you back to the house, right? So at certain, in between 10 to 20, 10 to 20 to 30, there are multiple snakes. But understand, there is a snake at 97, which brings you back to almost 2, 3, 4, wherever it is. It brings you back to this thing. And sometimes you have to be careful about this snake. In my case, it was H1B. I didn't get H1B 3 times. Boom, back to 0. I went into negative. I had to take loans. I had to go into negative income to get back into school, start making money, pay off that education loans and all of this. But here's the thing, if you keep playing the game, you will win. Eventually you will win. You will get to the house. That's the secret, guys. If you get upset because you got back to 0 and you just stop playing the game, there is no chance of you winning it. So it's okay. Keep playing. I remember there were so many times that snake has eaten me and I had still won the game. And this game, I believe I'm still going to win it. And same goes for you. I hope you win this game. If you have anything on your mind, if you feel you're going through something, reach out to me. Reach out to me on Instagram, reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I will be happy to talk to you. There are links in my bio if you want to talk to me personally. I'm more than happy to talk to you guys as well. But if you have any situations you're going through or something interesting you went through, put it in the comment section. We would love to know what you went through. Okay, but I had a blast talking to you. I wanted to put some content out there where I speak my heart and just kind of show you and show you reality of America. At the end of the day, it's something you have chosen for yourself, so you can't be too upset. Even if you're upset, everybody has right to rant and everybody has right to get upset. But who are you going to get upset at the end of the day? Only yourself, because there's no point in getting upset at government, mouse in the house, president, and all these people. You can't. The only person who controls your destiny is you. So all the best to you. Take care.